So hello, my name's Jason Newland. My website's jasonnewland.com. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. Vinny is in the background making a bit of noise, so if background sound is an issue, then please, turn it off, because I think it's going to be at it for a while. So my website's jasonnewland.com, and in this recording I'm going to do a hypnosis session for biting nails. Now, it's not a hypnosis session to get you to start biting nails, because that'd be kind of weird, but I think I remember there was a time when my nails just kept growing, because I don't bite my nails. And it was so annoying. I was trying to bite it. I think this is at school, because it was just getting in the way. It was like a big long nail, like a witch's nail. And I don't think that ever actually happened, but yeah, sometimes long nails can really be annoying. But that's what nail cutters are for, and, what's it? Scissors. So, when I was a kid, actually, my brother used to bite his nails, but he used to bite, right into the actual, I don't know what you call it, I'd call it the core or the skin, and it'd bleed. And I remember my parents used to put this stuff on his nails that tasted disgusting, and I think his response to that was, I'll get used to it. He wanted to continue. He didn't want to stop, but he did stop in the end, because it was so disgusting, this stuff that he had on his nails. I mean, in a way, you could imagine something really disgusting on the ends of your fingers. So this is a request from YouTube. It's at Beck630. So I don't really know who the person is. I might know. There might be someone that listens to my podcasts. But I will upload this, and it'll be on YouTube as a video. It'll also be on my website, and it'll be on all the podcasts. I feel a little bit flustered. I've been rushing around trying to get everything ready, get all the lights on and all that stuff. But I'm also streaming live on TikTok, just for those that want to just, want to watch me in action. So it might be a bit weird. They might be thinking, what are you doing? Why are you what are you doing? Which is fine. I get that a lot. But I won't be talking to anyone on here. I'll be focusing completely on the recording. So I've done 2 recordings before for nail biting. One in 2011, one in 2018, I think. So this is going to be the 3rd one I do. I might have done 4, but I think I've done 2 in the past. Well, I might have done 3 in the past, but I think I might have lost one of them. And it's still going to be the same kind of thing, but I'm going to focus more on extreme nail biting. And I guess extreme nail biting would be where you're basically drawing blood from yourself. Unless, of course, you're a vampire. But then vampires, they can't drink their own blood, can they? Otherwise, it'd just be continuous. They wouldn't need to go out. Better stay in and watch EastEnders instead of going out and, turn into bats and stuff. Whatever vampires do. getting into kung fu fights in bars. See, when I grew up, vampires didn't do martial arts. When did that all start? Was it Buffy? Was it Buffy, or was it Wesley Snipe in Blade? Which came first, Blade or Buffy? Because before that, vampires didn't do kung fu. Oh, I know kung fu. They didn't, did they? So, not that I remember, unless there were some Chinese martial art movies or that had vampires, which is possible. So I'm just going to talk. You don't have to relax. You don't have to settle down. You don't have to do anything. All this is just me talking. And I personally would advise you close your eyes, as you know, if it feels comfortable, but you don't need to do that. But remember, only listen when it's safe to close your eyes. And this, it's just me talking. It's just a person talking, and it's more powerful if you was listening to it with your eyes closed, lying down on a bed or sitting in a chair. But if you've got your eyes open, there's suggestions there, but you won't feel sleepy, you won't feel tired or anything like that. If anything, you'll feel more relaxed, but also stimulated, especially if you're looking at the video and looking at my big tomato face. You might be thinking, oh, really, really fancy a salad. So yeah. So I've been told, someone said that to me once. They said, whenever I see you, I think of a tossed salad. And I thought, okay, fair enough. I mean, tomato maybe, but what about cucumbers? Radishes, I suppose. It could be a radish, couldn't I? Plums, plum tomatoes. I can get away with this in the summer. Oh, he's got a suntan. He's been burned by the sun. It's literally minus degrees outside, pretty much. It's not. This is not a suntan or sunburn. This is my natural rusky look. So, eventually, I'll get used to making videos again, and I won't be commenting on my appearance or my hair or lack of it. I also plan to shave my head today if I get the delivery of the razors, and I will probably record that or show it live, shave my head live. Oh, that's something to look forward to. Ooh, my knees tingled just thinking about it. So, as I said, you don't have to relax, you don't have to do anything. But if you're listening to this because you wish to stop biting your nails, then this is a good place to be. If you're listening just to relax, just to chill out, just to calm down, let your anxiety reduce, then this is also a good place, because I have a particular skill. What's that movie? Is it Lost or Stolen or Found or whatever? Liam Neeson. But my skill isn't tracking people down. It's boring people with my boring voice. That is my skill. So, that's kind of what I do. So whatever the reason you're here for, whether you're just watching the video on YouTube thinking, what's going on? Whether you're watching live on TikTok, thinking, what's going on here? Or whether you're listening on the podcasts, thinking, no, I'm not going to do it again. Some of you will be thinking, oh good, Jason's made a new recording. Some people might be thinking, oh, there's this recording for Stop Nail Biting. I'll give it a go. Maybe I'll listen every day for a month. Perhaps it could be your New Year's resolution. But it might not even be that it's a huge thing in itself, but you might just not like the way your fingers look. Like my fingernails, if you can see, they're pretty alright. I keep them short most of the time. Although when I used to play the guitar for about 2 weeks, I realised that guitar players have to have their nails long on one hand, sort of so they could strum. So, I mean, not all strumming requires long nails. I mean, you can do it without, but this recording isn't really about guitar playing, is it? But every time I move off the subject, you might start to notice that your stress levels reduce. And sometimes it seems to be that stress, that tension, that almost acts like a glue to keep those behaviours that you don't want to do stuck together. Whether it's drinking, whether it's biting your nails, whether it's arguing, whatever it is, eating too much chocolate, whatever it is, sometimes it's that anxiety that's kind of sticking those two things together, where you think that you need to do that thing to reduce your anxiety, when actually that's the thing that is attracting the anxiety. It's kind of weird, isn't it? The way the mind may work. So, I'm going to assume that you're here to stop your nail biting. And if you are watching live stream, this will be available to watch in full on YouTube and also available as a podcast. And Vinny will be in the background making his weird noises at times, because he is my co-host. He's my little Jack Russell, my little red Jack Russell doggy, my little puppy. He's not a puppy, but he's little, as are all Jack Russells, pretty much. Right, here's the thing. You don't need my permission to stop biting your nails. You don't need anybody's permission to stop biting your nails. You never have. It's something that you can choose. Just notice my thumb is a bit... I don't know why, it's not necessarily related, but my thumb on my right finger, my right hand, sometimes gets a little bit, the joint is a little bit more stiffer than the one on my left hand. Isn't it weird? These little distractions that take you away from the thing that you were focusing on before. And as I look at my thumb, I look at the size of it, and I just, in comparison, I think of my dad's hands, and he's got like big sausage fingers, but he probably hasn't in reality, but it just seems to have big fingers, big hands. And as I look at my thumb, I kind of think, first of all, how come the colour's so different from my face? I mean, it's a completely different colour. Look, it's like I've got an albino thumb. It's very strange. And then the fingernail, or the thumbnail rather. What I like, and it might be strange, I don't know if you agree with this, I like to have just have it there without feeling it, without having any discomfort. And even if I get a hangnail, the side of like a bit of skin comes off at the side of the nail, I don't like that. I really don't like that. The idea of causing that myself, the idea of actually biting a bit off, I'm not into that pain. I'm just not into it. It's just, ugh. But then there's the whole idea of like, okay, what are you actually putting into your mouth? And that's the thing about germs. You can't see germs, thankfully. Can you imagine if we could? Oh, we wouldn't do anything, would we? We would just like, ugh. Because they're everywhere, obviously. We're just infinite. Billions of germs, trillions everywhere. But underneath the fingernails, because that's a very nice, tight little space to get, isn't it? And also, remembering if you've got an injury, so if you've broken skin, that's a place where germs love to be. Damaged skin, germs love that. So, you might notice that your mind starts to drift a little bit if you've got your eyes closed. If your eyes are open, then, you just be awake, maybe feeling more relaxed. But there's nothing required of you to do. Don't worry, there's no more rhyming going to happen there. That was accidental. And somewhere underneath your thoughts, change has already started. Because we're always changing. Always. Always changing. Always developing. Always aging. All consequences. Right from birth, we're always changing. And it doesn't feel that way sometimes. So you might have a fingernail that's a bit scabby from when you used to bite it. But in a week's time, that might be completely healed up. And I don't know about you, what I notice is I can feel the healing starting in a part of my body when that part starts to itch a little bit. Not itch in a way that you need to scratch it, but itch in a kind of pleasant, tingly way that you know that healing is actually occurring. I don't know why I'm getting excited at that, but I do. I like that. And I have that sometimes with my back, my lower back, with my arthritis. And I can feel almost like the healing is entering into my back. And it starts to just itch a little bit internally, like in the muscles maybe, or around the sides of my spine. And it replaces the feeling that was there before. And something I noticed years ago, like 20 years ago, is with things like pain, chronic pain, all kinds of pain, but, especially chronic pain, relaxation reduces chronic pain. Of course, we know that when you relax, your anxiety reduces, you relax, the tension in your body starts to go down, you relax. maybe your head starts to just feel lighter, behind your eyes. Maybe your forehead starts to relax and even out, whether you've got your eyes open or closed. Your body starts to get heavier, the muscles loosen. And this is just something that happens naturally, something that happens in its own time without needing to do anything. So that's quite good. And you might notice if your mind may have already started drifting, when you realise there's nothing to do, nothing you have to do, nothing you need to do. Because ultimately, if you've chosen that from now on your nails can be left alone, from now on you're just going to leave your nails to grow naturally, and when they need cutting, you can just cut them naturally, with some, I don't know, I was going to say pliers. I don't know, whatever you cut your fingernails with. Or if you need help, get someone to do it for you. I do like to get people, I had is it a pedicure? That's it, pedicure. And had someone cut my toenails. It was nice. I just sat there in the salon and they were massaging my feet and gave me a pedicure and cut my toenails and all that stuff. It was lovely. I fell asleep. I actually woke up because there was like this weird noise. Someone started screaming and like people were rushing and people were running out of the door. And I opened my eyes. I said, "What's going on?" And the lady said, "You just farted, sir. You just farted." And it cost me about £2,000 to get the place fumigated. That's how bad my farts are. Anyway, this is a serious recording. It's not. It doesn't have to be serious. We're talking about nail biting. It doesn't, regardless of how much it's affected a person in their life, it's still just nail biting. It's still just a little nail on your finger that is full of germs, let's face it, that doesn't need to go into your mouth. Now, of course, you may live in a place where you eat with your fingers. So this recording is not really aimed at you. This is aimed at people that use cutlery to eat their food. Okay? The fingers are covered in germs. And underneath the fingernails, I'm not going to say they're like little anuses, but they're basically very dirty. They're very, very full of germs. Little anuses. I didn't expect that to come out of my mouth. So, and underneath your thoughts, I wonder what's already started happening, sort of bubbling away in your mind. Might be a mixture of, what's this bloke talking about? He's talking about farting and anuses under fingernails. He's really gone off on a tangent. I thought this was going to be a serious recording. I can't believe I spent no money at all for this. Yeah, who would pay? Weirdly enough, though, I've got a friend who she'd been biting her nails for years and years, a whole life really. And I think she was in her 40s, 50s even, 40s or 50s, 40s to, I don't know. But she was in her kind of getting on to middle-aged, I'm going to say, I'm treading very carefully here. And she listened to my recording probably about 5 years ago and stopped biting her nails. Hasn't bitten her nails since. And this is something that's quite cool. So right now, your heart beats without instruction. Your skin renews without asking. And your immune system works completely automatically without any thought whatsoever. You don't have to kind of focus like, oh, it just happens. When you eat, you don't have to like, oh, please turn that beef burger into poo, turn it into poo. It's like, come on, Joe, you're going to watch a movie. No, I'm trying to turn my food into poo. But you're missing the King's speech. It's Christmas Day, of course. No, but all that turkey, it's too much. I got to turn it into poo. No, you don't have to do any of that. It just happens naturally. Automatically, unconsciously, unquestioned. So, the place it must change is the same place it began. And your brain controls all that stuff. Your brain doesn't need any help from you. Maybe, when it comes to eating, to eat the right things, but doesn't need help for you to digest. Some things probably not a good idea if you're just eating. Like doing multiple handstands and acrobatics, break dancing on the Christmas table. Maybe, wait till you digested your food. And some people talk about the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind. When you think about it, everything that we are is our brain. Without the brain, there's nothing. Nothing would work without the brain on its own. Every part of everything operated by the brain automatically. It's pretty good, isn't it, really? I mean, the idea that the brain maintains this sexy body of mine, it flabbergasts me. Sometimes I look in the mirror in the bathroom and I think to myself, I need to put some clothes on. So, as you've probably noticed, thoughts can drift, mine do. Images can fade, and words can pass straight through. And some of the words that I've said in this recording will just be a bunch of nonsense. But some of the things that I've said that you might not have noticed may be useful. And also remember that intention means something as well. So every time you notice your mind wandering, remember that that's not necessarily a distraction. My mind wanders all the time. And instead of like, ooh, might be what I say to myself, ooh, you should be more focused. Which is good. If I was doing a brain operation, yeah, I should be more focused. If I was giving someone a heart transplant, yeah, I should be focused, but I'm not doing that. And if you are giving someone brain surgery right now, perhaps turn this off. It's not the right time. You know, if you be on YouTube or watching live TikToks. There's a degree of depth that you can reach in your mind, in your brain. And I've got this theory that instead of kind of going through the idea of your unconscious mind, to start putting faith in your brain in the same way that we put faith in the pilot of a plane. I mean, you think all of that technology that goes into getting a massive plane off the ground and travelling for 12 hours solid. Everything involved in that, you have to have trust. If you can have trust in that, then surely you can have trust in your own brain. If you can trust a bus driver or a taxi driver or a train driver, what have I got against drivers? Nothing. I'm just saying, if you can trust someone that you don't even know, a complete stranger, you trust in your life with that person, technically, you know? So surely you can have trust in your own brain to help you to make changes. And why would your brain say no? If you literally just have the idea that no longer are you going to be biting your nails anymore, that's kind of just, you don't want to do it no more. You don't need to do it anymore, it's of no use. It's the past. You know, the same way as you don't wear a diaper or a nappy. And if you do still, then, you know, apologies. But generally, there's things that we don't do anymore that we used to do. I don't sit in a pram anymore screaming because I want a lollipop. You might argue, well, it's because I can't fit in the pram anymore because I'm so fat. You could argue that. Fair enough. I mean, being older doesn't stop me from liking lollipops. That reminds me. You know, there's a degree of happiness that I've seen over the years. And I used to work in this... Did you know that inner smile that we have? Where sometimes you just feel really, really great. I had this last night. And it's for no reason. No reason, really. And you feel really good. Accomplished. Like you've done something. All I've done is made a recording, made a video, and I've done lots of that stuff. And I felt good having done it. And I was watching EastEnders. Even watching EastEnders. And the misery of that programme didn't bring me down. I was still fine after that. And I thought, wow. So... there's that kind of inner smile that can come out that's in your brain, that's part of you. And you can feel it in your body, in your hands, in your arms, almost like a breeze kind of blowing on you. I mean, all the windows are closed. There's no fans in here. It's a bit stuffy, to be honest, because I've got the door closed. The windows closed. That's why I was coughing earlier. Partly why I was coughing. And Vinny's running around dusty, moving all the dust around, bless him. It's like a walking duster. Anyway, I remember it was 2004. I saw this little girl in a pram. Her mum was pushing. Might not have been a mum, could have been an auntie. Could have been her sister, it could have been anyone. I didn't ask. There was no need to ask. It would have been an intrusive question. I didn't need to know. I just made the assumption. But it wasn't really about the mother, it was about the little girl. Because she had this big lollipop that was nearly the size of her face. She wasn't licking it, she was just holding it. And I can honestly say, I don't think in my entire life, 55 years, have I ever seen a happier face than that little girl. She was holding that lollipop with pride, with absolute bliss. You know, I think if there was, I don't think anything could have changed her mood. She was so happy. And that is quite contagious as well, because seeing her happy, I felt happy, put me in a good mood, because I just kind of got me back in touch with sometimes how it's simple things can give you pleasure and cause you to feel as though you've accomplished something and you've made changes and you're moving forward. That little girl was moving forward. I mean, physically she was being pushed. Not out of the pram, but like she was in, she was on wheels. Not in a wheelchair, she was like in a pram. She was being pushed by a mum or whoever the woman was. It could have been, I mean, it's unlikely it was a stranger. But, it was someone that she knew, I guess. But she seemed content and happy that she was moving forward and she knew where she was going in life. Maybe it was just for that period of time. And the weird thing is she's probably, 24, 25 years old now. No, 24... No, 21 years old probably, I don't know, 21, 22. She won't remember that. She won't remember being taken into that little shop called the Evolution store. It was Evolution, like a gift shop run by Buddhists. She won't probably remember that. Might not even remember that feeling. But that feeling is remembered within her. So that feeling of being relaxed, feeling calm, feeling loose, feeling happy has stayed within her. And we've all got access to those feelings. And sometimes it's just a case of just asking for them or requiring them in the same way as asking or requiring or needing to let your brain take control of the whole fingernail stuff, where you no longer need to really bother about it anymore. And you can say to your brain, let me carry on if it's good for me. If it's not good for me, then let's just let it go. And kind of give up your power to yourself, in a sense, which sounds weird. I tell you what sounds weirder. That sounds weirder. But what? You're not begging yourself for these changes to happen now. You're almost just maybe coming to a truce, like, okay, well, there's part of you wanted to do that thing and part of you that don't want to do that thing, and in the middle there's your brain that is in control of what you do unconsciously. And you can say, well, you know what, I'd like to stop doing it now. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to have healthy looking nails. And also not to have pain, because, it can be painful, can't it? and also not have that weird taste. Because I mean, I used to bite. I certainly used to. I bit my nails a little bit when I was young, only for a short period. But I used to get the nail stuck in between my teeth, and once it got stuck right in my gum, and I got a gum infection. I forgot all about that. That's weird, isn't it? But yeah, it was very strange. So like, how can I go from biting my nails to ending up with a really bad gum? But it's probably because of the germs and the bacteria on the nail, I guess. Because they're things you can't see, aren't they? That affect you every day, including germs, bacteria, viruses. We can't see the energy. We're affected by energy. We can't see it though. I mean, is there the space between me and the camera, or between me and the TV over the other side of the room? It seems empty, but it's not. There's no such thing as empty space. It's full of energy, full of particles. Kind of weird, really, isn't it? I would say more about it, but I'm kind of making it up as I'm going along. I think I saw it on a YouTube video once. I mean, we can't see them. We can't see germs. Germs were only created about, I think, 150 years ago. Or discovered, rather, not created. And you might not know this. This is actually a factual thing. It was a Scottish surgeon, right? So bearing in mind we're talking about germs underneath the fingernails, and you might say, oh, well, that's okay. Well, I'm going to try and explain this situation without it being too grim. But this is a factual historical event. In the past, it was mainly men that did surgical stuff. It's just the way it was. Women were allowed to be nurses and maybe look after babies. So there was a time when the surgeons would go from doing a surgical operation straight into the maternity ward and deliver a baby. And the mortality rate was high, and they didn't know why. And this Scottish surgeon came along and was just, because it was like really confusing everyone, and he went to another ward that was all run by women, and all they did was the maternity. They didn't do any operations, but they just did the maternity. But what you notice is what's happening is the women were washing their hands with soap and hot water. The men weren't. It's a bit like men's toilets and women's toilets. Men's toilets, because you know when you turn the hot water on, the boiler comes on and it heats the water up. I think in the men's toilets, the boiler never gets used. Hot water's never, it's just, if you've ever been in a man's toilets, it's grim. Really grim. So, yeah. I noticed that most of all. I noticed it when I was at school. I worked in a nightclub. I used to clean toilets when I was younger. I also noticed when I was at college, because there was a lot of younger people there. And I go in there and I think I saw, in 3 years, I might have seen 3 people wash their hands. Now, admittedly, I wasn't standing inside the toilet the whole time, because I probably wouldn't have been there for 3 years. I probably would have spent a few years in prison. But I was amazed at how many people came out of the cubicle and just walked straight out. Grim. I'm not saying it's only men that do that, because it might be women as well. But I don't have the luxury. I don't. The word luxury is not the right word, of being able to see. I mean, a luxury is not the right word, is it? There's no luxury in being in either toilets. So this Scottish doctor was like looking at the situation, and he realised that the women are washing their hands, and the mortality rate was something like 50% less, if not 80%. It's like really, most of the babies and the mothers were surviving. And this was back in a time when it wasn't the easiest thing giving birth. By easy, I mean medically safe. And he decided that he studied both these situations, and he said to the surgeons, you need to wash your hands. When you've done an operation in this surgery, you need to wash your hands with soap, hot water, before you go and see another person. I might be making this last little bit up, but I'm pretty sure they laughed at him and they put him in an asylum. Because they just thought he was being ridiculous. And this was, I think, about 50 years or more before the discovery of germs. Oh, there's another thing, actually. The reason why people thought, like the public, the experts, the doctors, they thought that if you sprayed yourself with perfume, it got rid of the dirt. It got rid of the danger of being ill, when actually it just covered it up. So, when people think, sometimes people say, oh, I'd love to go back in time, Robin Hood's day, or go and meet Maid Marian, or go back to Henry VIII, or, you wouldn't. It'd be so smelly. So smelly. It would be unbelievably stinky. If you go back 200-300 years, it would be almost impossible to sit in a room. Imagine sitting in a pub with 50, 100 people that maybe haven't had a bath for a month. Or, it's like, the further back in time you go, the longer it's really bad smells. But they wouldn't have noticed it, would they? They'd probably be thinking, oh, it's that horrible smell, that new bloke has just walked in, oh, smells like Shaw deodorant. Ugh. So as we focus on the places where you do touch which are not good, and where there's germs, it's just standard, isn't it? You think about it, phones, door handles, money, although I don't really touch money so much these days, shopping baskets, public buttons. See, that's something I didn't realise. So it's like there's self-checkouts in the supermarkets, you have to press buttons, hundreds of people, and how many of those people have got feces on their fingers, underneath their fingernails? So you touch that and you go and you're waiting in a bus, or maybe driving home, waiting at traffic lights, just giving your fingernails a little, Not only are you like ingesting someone else's poo, you don't know whose it is. I mean, it takes the romance right out, doesn't it? McDonald's, that's another place that has sell things. So the worst one of all is my doctor's surgery. So I go into the doctor's surgery and there's literally anybody that could have any illness or disease from anywhere in the world. I mean, it could be anything they could have. You could have someone there with the plague. You don't know. They've just been to another country that has the plague. And they've come in, they've pressed the machine, put in their date of birth or whatever to log in for their appointment. I come in next to them, do that. So I'm waiting. As I'm walking to the doctor's, when I'm called in, one of my arms falls off. It's like, that's not good, is it? So, bathroom surfaces, ugh. Admittedly, my bathroom, I don't share bathrooms. In this country, we don't call it going to the bathroom when we use a toilet. It's called going to the toilet. So, if we're in a restaurant in this country, in my country, in the UK, England, so if you're visiting here, there's a certain etiquette and protocol. You don't ask for the bathroom because they will actually take you to a place where there's just a bath. And that's probably not what you need, is it? Because you have to have your own robe and towel and everything. So if it's a toilet you need, you have to say, can you tell me where the bog is, please? I need a big shit. That's kind of what you have to do. It's etiquette, it's respectful, and if you're in a really nice restaurant, the nicer the restaurant, the louder you need to say it. Because it shows authority and it shows that you're dignified and kind of higher up the social ladder. Other people's hands as well. Or, if someone drinks my water, someone did this. Someone drinks out of my water bottle, or they drink out of a cup or a glass by accident. I can't touch it again. To me, that's equivalent of them just spitting in my drink, expecting me to drink it. That's how I feel. It's the same thing. It's not the same thing, but that's how it feels. And for me to bite my fingernails, that feels to me the same way as walking up to a complete stranger or going into a public toilet, waiting for someone to come out of the cubicle and walk towards the exit. And I say, wait a minute, can I just suck on your fingers for a minute? Because that's kind of what you're doing, isn't it? When you put your fingers in your mouth, you're basically sucking on someone else's fingers, someone else's dirty toenails, or fingernails rather. Why is it toenails seem worse, when in fact probably the toenails are probably cleaner than the fingernails? Because they're inside our shoes and inside our socks, and there's a certain, very cheesy, it's a cheesy kind of bacteria, isn't it? But it's different for fingers, because we don't shake hands with our feet, do we, generally? I mean, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? A weird custom. Could try it out, though. Try it at a party, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Veronica. And just pull your foot out and sort of rub it on them. It's worth a try. See, you get a lot with these recordings, not just about changing how you act, changing a habit, changing the way you feel, feeling more relaxed, feeling calmer, maybe feeling a little bit entertained at parts. It's about opening your mind up to new ideas, even if some of them involve thinking about maybe some of the less pleasant sides of it, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't walk up to someone and say, can I suck on your fingers, please? Because you think about it, if you really loved fingernails so much, we've only got so many, haven't we? And they do run out. what do you do? Would you go up to someone that you didn't know and say, "Can I bite your fingernails, please?" Or would you kind of just go to the cinema and hope, and maybe just like pull their hand up, hopefully they get so engaged in the movie, complete stranger, you can just pull their finger up and start nibbling on their nails, hoping they don't notice. Seems like quite a weird thing to do. You imagine how many germs are underneath your fingernails. Oh. Yeah, it's quite grim actually, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to go gross or anything because it's not really about that, but you know, sometimes I pick Vinny's poo up. I pick Vinny's poo up every day. Sometimes twice a day. He usually does 2 a day. Occasionally, especially if the grass is long, because he loves to do it in long grass. And it's quite hard to get it out of the grass, and sometimes some of it gets on my hand, which is sort of grim. I don't, any dog walker will tell you it's just sometimes happens. It's not good. So some would argue, we'll just use a poo bag then. I am using a poo bag. I learned that after the first month. And so, no matter how I wipe my hand on the grass, not the same patch, different patch of grass. And then I get home, I don't touch anything as I go up the stairs, don't touch the banisters because I'm thinking about other people. I open the door with my left hand with the key, which I don't normally do because I don't want to touch the door handle. I leave the lead on him. I don't even lock the door because I go straight into the bathroom, make sure nothing is touched by this hand, and then I start washing the hand. Hot water, soap. And no matter how many times I wash it, it doesn't feel clean. I keep washing it. Not in the sense of like 100 times or anything like that. The only time I can continue to act like normal and just do normal things with my hand is when I've forgotten about it. So there's no way I could wash my hands and then hold a bit of bread in my hand and, eat something with my right hand, even though I know it's clean, it's been washed like 3 times, until I've forgotten. And that's a good thing about forgetting stuff, isn't it? Because sometimes we forget, and we kind of remember to forget, or we forget what we remembered we were forgetting, and it can get muddly, and you realise before you know it that you're not doing that thing that you used to do, and it's that thing before is no longer important to you, doesn't mean anything, doesn't give you anything, and something's changed. Something inside your brain has changed, and I don't mean symbolically, I mean literally. Something literally is like clicked. And even though we're talking about fecal bacteria, skin bacteria, and environmental microbes, chemical residue, and our fingernails are collecting points for that stuff. And there's no filter, is there, on the mouth? There's no like little net, no safety net that can kind of stop the bacteria from getting into your body. And if you've got any kind of mouth injury or any kind of cut in your mouth or whatever like that, even if it's just by brushing your teeth too hard, then that can get into your system and cause you to be a bit ill, possibly. I'm not a doctor. And I look like a doctor, but I'm not. I'm not trampolinist either. So it's about thinking to yourself, well, don't you want to protect your mouth? Don't you to protect your body? Now, anyone that's had a kid, you don't have to have had a baby or be a parent or be a grandchild. You've only got to have spent time with a little baby, a little kid, toddler, to know that they will literally pick anything up off the floor and go to put it in their mouth. Like, they don't care because they're exploring. And you have to watch them all the time to make sure that they don't pick up dog turd or don't try and eat the guinea pig or whatever, you know. So if we're going to give that kind of care and attention and kindness towards a little kid, and you would do that even if that kid wasn't yours. If you was in a restaurant and you see a little kid on the floor picking up something dangerous, let's say there was a bit of broken glass on the floor, even if it wasn't your kid, you'd get involved, wouldn't you, and say, hey, and you'd make everyone know what was going on and stop that little kid. Or if they got a knife or so, he's like, you know, you'd intervene. Isn't it worth intervening in your own life, your own mouth, looking after your own health? I'm quite pleased with myself with that one. That was quite a good analogy. So you've got microscopic cuts, tiny breaks in the gums, small tears in the skin. Can all kind of be affected if you start putting your fingers in your mouth. And who needs a drama? And let's face it, fingernails that have been like shredded by your teeth do look grim. I mean, decent fingernails are about the only thing I've got left, apart from being really tall and handsome and sexy and slim. But, you know, outside of that, fingernails, it's handy. I'm just having a look to see if the other ones are also okay. Yeah, they're alright. They're not perfect. In fact, there's probably dirt. Yeah, there will be dirt underneath there. But I wash my hands regularly. It's probably dirt. Yeah, there's a bit of dirt under there. Sometimes it's bits of food for him, not my food. But he eats dry food and I take it out with me and it gets all grainy and I have to kind of get some of my fingernails. And you know what I don't do when it's like that? I don't think to myself, I'm going to bite my nails because I want that inside my body. Ooh, no. Opening doors. Wow. If you're going out in public, can you imagine how many people have touched that doorknob or that door handle? Because knobs hold a lot, I imagine, hold a lot of germs. I mean, people, literally like a library or knobs in a library, there's a lot of people coming and going there. I'm trying to think, supermarket, wow. Thousands of potential people touching the knobs there. So it's really, really makes you think, doesn't it? Yeah. Collection of germs, bacteria. Ugh. I mean, personally, I just don't want that stuff in my mouth. I'm not saying I don't like stuff that's unhealthy, because I love chocolate. But I don't like stuff that might look like chocolate. It isn't chocolate, you know? I mean, I don't care. If I find something on the floor, it might look like a Malteser, but I'm not picking it up and putting it in my mouth. I'm not falling for that twice. I mean, there are nail biters who develop infections, especially from the little cuts in the skin. Not dramatic injuries, accidents or anything like that. Just small habits repeated daily. It can spread into the finger, into the tendon sheath, into the bloodstream, which is obviously not a good thing. Just that term, spread into the bloodstream. It's never used in a confident, positive way, is it? Oh, everything's going really well. It's spread through the bloodstream. Oh, great. I mean, sometimes people have to end up in hospital because of it. When you think about it, handling raw meat, raw chicken, and not washing your hands, just things like that, and you put your hands and your fingers in your mouth, you could end up with food poisoning, chronic illness, digestive stuff, all kinds of stuff. As I said, I'm not a doctor. I mean, I said I'm not a trampolinist either, but I did use a trampoline once. Although there was this lad at school, he was, I think, a year or 2 years ahead of me. I think he was a year ahead. And he was on the trampoline, and he was my friend's brother. So he bouncing up and down a trampoline, as you do. He wasn't having coffee. He was bouncing up and down. And because he was a lot more developed than the other kids, and he was like muscular, and like he was much more physically stronger and athletic. So he managed to bounce way too high, and he hit the ceiling. And this was in a like a high, big gymnasium. He managed to hit the ceiling. This is going to be my version of the story, but it did happen. But when he landed, he didn't land on the trampoline, or he landed on a corner anyway. An ambulance was called. He was in hospital for a couple of weeks. He was okay, but he had to have surgery. He really damaged himself. And he said to me and my friends, because we were all kind of asking him how he was when he got out of hospital, he was still bandaged up. I think he might have broken his arm as well, but he had some internal damage. And he said that they shaved him downstairs, and that made him impotent. Now, I didn't really know what he meant when he said shaved, because I was a bit too young to really understand what that was, because I was very like physically immature. I'm just now mentally immature. And I had to look up the word impotent. And he said, oh yeah, you have to have, if they're shaved off, then nothing works. Which is a lie. I'm saying it like I know, like really definitely, if you shave all them off, then it doesn't affect you, how it works. But it's a lie. Like, it's medically, it's not true. So I don't know why he said it. More importantly, I don't know why I just said it. It's because I talked about trampolines. If you keep mentioning trampolines to me, you're going to get a trampoline story. It's weird though, because when you trace it back, the habit you used to have, is it any use? Was it helping you in any way? Were you getting anything out of it? in reality? What's it giving you? What's it doing for you? And your unconscious remembers every time your body had to fight something off, reminding you of every sore throat, tummy bug, unexpected illness, connecting the dots. Quietly, firmly, maybe thinking, perhaps if your fingers stay out of your mouth, you'll be better off. Yeah. I don't even remember. I'm sure I used to suck my thumb when I was a kid, but I stopped that. That's a long time ago. I remember early 40s, I think. Sometimes your mind can kind of take control, so your brain decides that every time your fingers move, like that unconscious thing, that pattern of behavior that was there before, where you would move your fingers towards your mouth to have a little nibble, your hand just drops to the floor. Not literally to the floor, but it just drops down. Because it doesn't want to do that anymore. It's not that every time your hand goes to your face, it's just for that particular thing. And you might not remember that you used to have the habit. It might almost be forgotten. Like, really? Because I bored you so much with this recording that you might be of a mind where you think, okay, I'll just agree, I won't do it anymore, please stop the recording, stop talking, and I promise you, which is one way to go. It's not really what I was planning to do, It's supposed to be a nice experience. But you get a signal when your fingers move towards your mouth with the intention of doing that old behaviour. It's not fear, it's not anxiety. Maybe disgust. I mean, you might have that now when you just think of the idea of biting your fingernails and the disgust of just walking up to a complete stranger that's just come out of a toilet cubicle and asking them if you can suck on their fingers. Or a dog walker that's just picked up the dog poo. Probably not going to do that. At least I hope you wouldn't. If you did, you possibly would get the police called. I'm not sure. I'm not going to test it. I suppose it's clearly, steadily knowing that it's contaminated. Feeling that that behaviour before is no longer part of you. You've changed. You're no longer the same person. The same person, like, generally, but it's like that part of the jigsaw puzzle wasn't fitted in properly. It was the wrong piece. So you've taken out that piece, which was the nail biting, and you put in a nice piece that actually fits in with the picture now. One that fits in perfectly. And maybe that picture, that little piece of the picture of the puzzle is just comfort, relaxation, that happy holding a lollipop moment, that inner happiness, that inner smile. maybe that can be the place to replace the old behavior. Oh. And your hand pauses not because you decide in the moment. You've already decided, haven't you? But it's like an unconscious pattern interrupt, because it's no longer useful for you. Was it ever useful? Maybe it did something. But the more you listen to me, the more you realise that actually there's different ways to get to that level of comfort, calmness, peacefulness. And maybe listening to my squeaky voice can help. Listening to me can help relax you, your body, your mind, your brain. It's worth remembering that a habit only survives when it runs in uninterrupted. But now there's always going to be an interruption, a pause, a reset. The pause grows stronger each time, and that glue that you seem to have that was connecting it has now dissolved. And there's a bigger gap, a space. Maybe that inner smile can fill that space as well. As you start to see yourself differently, noticing that clearly you're no longer a nail biter, because that was just a behaviour, a mechanism, a very, very outdated response. And if the urge appears, it just feels foreign to you, feels unusual, it doesn't fit, doesn't feel like you anymore. In the same way as, sometimes we just have to move on. If a relationship's over, sometimes it's over, and there's no going back. Nothing in the world would make you go back to that person, or to that situation, or to that job. Whatever the situation is, there's times that we all have in our lives when we will not return to that. We're done. We ain't going back to that. Nothing in the world, nobody can make you do what you don't want to do. And when you have that mindset of never again, like serious, I muck around in these recordings, I play around, I say silly things. But sometimes when you get serious and you really, I feel a little bit angry when I get into this, but it's like never again. Never. I'm not going to do it no more. Whether it's being taken for granted, whether it's having people, whatever the situation might be for you personally in your own life, there's going to have been a time when you've had to say no. No mess. No more. No mess. And it's a powerful feeling because you never turn back from it. It's almost like it's impossible to go back. Even though it's a choice, you've chosen to make that decision of never again. When you've got that energy behind it, now you've got that energy, it changes it. It goes from being, oh, maybe I won't do it anymore, and then like starting to thinking, oh, that is a bit gross, sucking on people's fingers. Ugh. They've just done a poo and maybe their fingers went through the toilet paper. Ooh, that's really grim. Didn't think about that before. And they're just maybe walking up the stairs, touching the banister of the stairs. And I'll walk up, touching the banister of the stairs. And I'm getting home and I'm just nibbling on my fingernails without a care in the world, not realising that I'm literally eating someone else's poo. But then that can be like, okay, there's some humour in that, there's disgust. But then when you go further, it's like, you know what, never again. In the same way, if someone's harmed you, you're never going to allow that to happen again. That person's never going to do that again. And it's not a maybe, it's not an if, it's no buts, no ifs, like never. Serious. Now, not biting your nails doesn't necessarily have to be a serious thing in itself. But if you add that to it and you really get into that mode, into that mindset of no mess, never again, it's very hard to turn back. It's very hard to turn back. And people make those decisions every day. Not everyone every day, but every day somebody has an event in their life. I remember once I got into a taxi. It wasn't a proper taxi. It was a dodgy taxi. And it was a bad experience. Never again would that ever happen. Never. You know, for the last 25 years, if I get a taxi, it's going to be a proper taxi. It's going to be one that I order, not some random person on a street telling me they're a taxi. So that was never again, ever. That's just one of many never agains. No mess, no more. No more. It can be the similar, you know, think in a relationship situation. And I would, you know what, I'll be honest with you. This isn't nothing to do with nail biting really, but I would happily dedicate the rest of my life to making recordings, telling people, encouraging people to get out of situations that are harmful for them and maybe for their children. And that's kind of where I'm going. That's the level I'm going at. Never again. Like never. Oh, but I won't do it again. No. Oh, but I love you. No. Oh, but I'm ill. No. Makes no difference. Never again. So I know it's going quite harsh and it's going quite serious. But when it comes to a habit, whether it's smoking, whether it's whatever it is, if you really go down that line, like never again. I know someone that stopped smoking when they watched their a relative die from lung cancer. Never again. That was a never again moment. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. That was nope. Done. No mess. I think if we all go back in our minds to the past, I think we probably all had those moments. It might not be as extreme, might be more extreme. It's going to vary. We've had those moments when we've just said, no, that's enough. It's not happening no more. Not doing it no more. Not putting up with it no more. No mass. No more. Never again. And I know I'm talking about nail biting, but this can be used for other things as well. Like, no. I feel like shouting now. This is terrible, isn't it? I'm getting emotional. Like, maybe that's what you need to get. You need to be emotional about this. Like, you're not going to be biting your nails anymore. That's it. No more. Done. Maybe it disgusts you. Maybe it doesn't. But no more. No mess. Done. That got a bit heavy, didn't it? See, I can mess about, but I can also be serious. And this was a recording requested. So I'm doing it for that reason. I'm not doing it just to entertain myself. But I also want it to be useful. And I suppose with me is I make longer recordings so that I can kind of come from different angles. So if one thing doesn't work, maybe another one does. Maybe different things, maybe time, maybe just complete boredom of listening to my voice. You just give up and say, okay, I'll stop doing that. Just please bring the recording to an end so I can get on with my life. Maybe that's the situation. Now I'd like you to imagine days from now. Your nails are growing. They grow quite quick though, don't they, nails? Your skin is healing if it needs to. Your hands are staying away from your mouth. This is all effortless. This is all easy. And if your fingers do drift upwards towards your mouth for that old habit, they just drop down again. Automatically, not necessarily even remembering, maybe having a feeling of disgust. The idea of putting your fingers in your mouth, biting your nails, ugh. Sucking the fingers of somebody that's just come out of a toilet cubicle. That's pretty grim, isn't it? It's weird. I'm quite pleased with myself. I didn't think I could get any more grimmer than the previous one I did, but I think I have. But you know what? If you're serious about stopping, if you're serious about making those changes, then you might as well just do it. Get it done. Because your unconscious remembers about the contamination, illness, consequences, and chooses safety instead. Let's face it, being ill is horrible, isn't it? Ugh, don't like it. And also remember, this isn't about discipline. It's not about willpower, not control. It's about protection. And as we discussed earlier, with your mind, your brain, always protecting you automatically. Everything is done automatically. So by giving the power, or not giving the power, giving it over to your brain, your unconscious mind, which I would say is your brain, just like let that take care of it. And your hands can remain clean, your mouth remains protected, and your body remains safer as the habit fades. Because it's no longer supported. No longer supported. And you can allow these ideas to settle in your mind. Maybe like little gold dust just sprinkled inside your brain. I'm going to bring it to the end, bring this recording to an end, and I'd like you to feel good about yourself. I'd like you to feel relaxed, energetic, and feel that you've accomplished something. Feel that you've actually done something worthwhile for you. For you. And made a difference for you. It's not for anyone else, because you're the one that benefits. You're the one that can feel relaxed and calm. You're the one that can feel peaceful. Now, I'm going to go. So I'd like to say thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you deserve to be happy. Be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. And remember that you are already enough. And you're going to be okay. Lots of love. Bye.